Hi, I'm Katie Akins with Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom.
And I'm Alicia Gutierrez with Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom.
And we are so excited to be here with you today to learn about one of our favorite things. Do you know what it is?
It's our favorite word.
Agriculture. Can you guys say agriculture?
Agriculture.
Very good. Now, I know that is a really big word, but those of you who we've seen before, we have asked you to remember two different groups of people when you hear that big word agriculture. Raise your hand if you can remember one of those groups or type of people.
Oh, I see a lot of hands raised.
We got the cowboys and cowgirls, who happen to be some of my favorite.
Yeah.
And you might remember that here in Arizona, we call our cowboys and cowgirls ranchers. Can you guys say ranchers? Ranchers. Good job. And we know that it is the job of the ranchers to care for 3 different animals. Raise your hand if you can tell me one animal that a cowboy or cowgirl, also known as ranchers, take care of.
Oh, I heard cows.
Got it. Cows.
Cowboy, cowgirl, that makes sense, right? It's in their name. But the type of cows that they take care of, they actually take care of cattle, right? And we call them beef cattle. Can you guys say beef cattle?
Beef cattle.
So beef cattle are the type of cattle that we get beef from. Steak, hamburger, beef jerky, but also leather, like for boots and belts and clothing, and also lots of other byproducts.
Ooh, that's a good word. Can you guys say byproducts?
Byproducts.
So byproducts are anything that we can get from that animal that's not meat. So as Miss Alicia said, if we use their hide to make leather, we can use other parts too to make things like gummy bears and marshmallows and all those amazing things. So beef cattle are really, really important. So we're grateful that our ranchers take good care of them. Okay, so what's another animal that our ranchers take care of?
What do they ride around on?
Of course, the horses.
A horse, of course.
I mean, you can't think of a cowboy or cowgirl without a horse. So they ride around on those horses to gather their cattle. That is their mode of transportation on the ranch. Okay, so now we know that our ranchers care for animals, so beef cattle and horses. Now that third one is a little tricky, so we're gonna
give you a hint. Yeah, we need to give you a hint. Ready?
All right. 1, 2, 3. Bah. Sheep. Of course it's sheep.
What part of the sheep do we use?
What do we get from sheep?
That's right. We can use them for their wool, right?
That's their hair.
To blankets and clothing.
And hats and mittens and scarves. Usually those things that keep us warm.
Yes.
Okay, so now we know when we hear the word agriculture, we should think of ranchers, and of course ranchers take care of animals. So what is that other group of people we should think of when we hear that word agriculture? Farmers. You got it. Yeah, you knew that one. So our farmers, as you know, also take care of animals. Can you tell us an animal that a farmer takes care of? I got my chickadee over here, right? Of course they take care of chickens.
Chicken.
And what do we get from chickens? Yeah, we get eggs from chickens. Those come from our hens. Yep. But what else can we get from chickens?
Chicken.
Yeah. Barbecue chicken.
Chicken nuggies.
Fried chicken. Chicken wings. Yep. Chicken legs. Anytime you're eating something and it has the word chicken in it, it comes from a chicken, right? Okay. So we know that they care for chickens. What's another animal that farmers take care of? They do. They take care of all of those, right? So they have goats, of course,
and
which
dogs.
You can get milk from and meat from. They've got the dogs and our barn cats, right? But we're thinking something a little bit more.
Pigs, yeah.
What do we get from pigs?
Ooh, so we get meat from pigs. Do you guys know what that meat is called?
Pork.
Yeah, bacon. Bacon is a type of pork.
Ham.
Yeah, pork
sausage.
Chops, pork ribs.
If you have a dog and they eat pig ears, those are actually pig's ears, right? Yeah. So kind of another cool product. Okay, so farmers, they take care of chickens and pigs. And the third animal that they might have that we want to talk about today, anyways, is very similar to an animal that a rancher takes care of. Do you know what that is?
They give him something we drink.
That's right. Cows. Milk cows, which of course we call dairy cows. Can you guys say dairy cow? Dairy cow. And our dairy cows are only girls, and that's because they have to have a baby before they can produce that milk. Okay, so we know when we hear the word agriculture, we should think of farmers and ranchers. And we know that farmers and ranchers raise animals to provide us with food and fiber, right? Clothes and all the other things we have. But do farmers also do something else besides caring for animals?
Yeah,
that's right.
They take care of plants.
Ooh, and the plants they take care of.
There's a certain
what do
word.
We call those?
I heard some crops. Yes. So
crops. We love crops. Can everybody say crops?
Crops. So
Very
crops
good.
are plants that farmers grow. So they can be things like fruits and veggies that we eat every day.
Ooh, or fiber, like cotton for our shirts and other clothes. But now you said fruits and vegetables. Can you tell us what the difference is between a fruit and a vegetable? Like, how do we know something is a fruit?
Do you guys know? Fruit has something on the inside. What do they have?
Seeds.
So if it has a seed, it's a fruit. It's a part of the plant that has the seed is a fruit. And a vegetable is a part of the plant
that you eat.
Yeah, that you eat. That is the roots, the stem, the leaves, or the flower.
Okay, so agriculture is a big word, but we should think of farmers and ranchers. And of course, farmers and ranchers take care of the animals and the plants that provide us with food and fiber and so many different things. So we thought we would spend the rest of our time here with you today talking about one of our favorite fruits that farmers grow. Do you want to guess what it is?
One of my favorite fall crops.
I think their teachers already told them because they already knew, of course. Today we're going to be learning more about pumpkins. And to do that, we're going to begin with a story because that's what we like to do, right? But it's important that you listen very carefully to the story because our story has all the information you need to do a really fun activity. So show me. If you're on the floor, crisscross applesauce, hands in your pockets, eyes open, ears open, mouths quiet. If you're sitting at your seats, eyes forward, feet on the ground. Here we go. Pumpkin Jack.
Pumpkin Jack, written and illustrated by Will Hubble. When Tim carved his first pumpkin, it was fierce and funny and just perfect. A jack-o'-lantern this good deserved a name, so Tim gave it one. Jack. Long after the best trick-or-treat candy was eaten, Tim still kept Jack. At night, when a candle made Jack's face dance on the wall and filled the dark with warm pumpkin smells, Tim felt Jack was almost magic. Yet, too soon, the spell was broken. "This pumpkin is beginning to rot," announced Mom. "It's time to throw it out." Tim knew it was useless to argue. He carried Jack to the garden, which was filled with the brown ghosts of last summer's plants. A dead garden is better than a trash can, thought Tim. Still, it made him sad to leave Jack outside and alone. Whenever chores or play brought Tim to the garden, he looked at Jack. Every time, Jack was different. He became wrinkled, and his fierce smile began to look silly. Mold spread over Jack's bright orange skin. As the days turned colder, Jack grew flatter. Winter began. Soon Jack was hidden beneath snow, and Tim forgot about him. The cold, heavy jacket days came. Snowman and sliding days, indoor days, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Valentine's. When all these days had passed and the March winds melted the snow, Tim found Jack. There wasn't much left, just a faded and crumpled pumpkin skin, a stem, and a few seeds. Jack's Halloween magic was a distant memory now. Tim scraped a thin blanket of earth over the last bits of his pumpkin. "Goodbye, Jack," he whispered. When spring turned barefoot warm, a tiny sprout appeared where Jack had been. Tim found it and guessed what it was. In the days that followed, Tim weeded and watered and watched the sprout. Slowly and steadily, the plant changed and grew. It branched and spread a web of vines over the ground, but no pumpkins appeared. The days turned hot. Flowers opened on the plant each morning, yellow stars that twisted shut forever in the afternoon. Still, there were no pumpkins. Finally, Tim found a little green ball growing behind a crumpled blossom. A pumpkin! Tim let out a whoop and ran to show his mom. By August, the plant had spilled onto the lawn. Tim's favorite game became pumpkin hunting. He carefully waded among the leaves, searching for green pumpkins like hidden treasures. School began again, and the days cooled. Tim had less time to visit the garden. When he did, the pumpkin plant seemed tired. There were few new leaves, and the old tattered ones no longer hid the fat green pumpkins. Then one October morning, Tim woke to see frost coating the garden. The frozen plants seemed changed to pale blue glass. After school, Tim discovered what the frost had done. The pumpkin plant's leaves were as limp as wet paper. It was dying. Tim searched among the withered leaves for the unripe pumpkins. He picked them and put them on the front porch, hoping for one more change. By Halloween, the pumpkins had ripened to bright orange. There were many, for the plant had been generous. Tim was generous too. He gave away all but one. From jack-o'-lantern to seed to pumpkin again, the circle was almost complete. Now it was time for Tim to do his part. He gave his pumpkin a face. It smiled at him in a fierce and funny way. Tim smiled too and said, "Welcome back, Jack."
How many of you guys like that story? I love that
It's
story.
one of my favorites.
I love that story. So in that story, of course, we learned all about our favorite fruit, pumpkins, and how pumpkins grow. So let's see how much you remember, all right? But to see how much you remember, I first need to know who has a really good imagination, like who can play pretend.
Oh, I think
Of
you
course
guys
you
can.
can play pretend. All right. So I want you to play pretend and tell us what this is. That's our big fat orange pumpkin.
How pretty it is.
Thank you for using your imagination. Now, when we decided we wanted this big fat orange pumpkin, did we just snap our fingers and poof, it appeared? No. We learned to grow a pumpkin, we have to have something. What do we have to have?
A seed, right? You guys said it. Do you guys think there's a seed in this pumpkin? I don't know. Let me look. Ooh, way down deep. Guess what?
A seed.
A seed.
A pumpkin seed. And we saw in our story that there are lots of different varieties of pumpkins, but all of our pumpkin seeds are very similar in color. Do you remember what color that was? It's kind of a white or tannish cream color, okay? That's going to be important to remember. So where did we take that seed and plant it? The dirt.
The dirt
now
or
remember,
the soil.
our key word for today is going to be soil. That's our science word. Can you guys say soil? Soil. So we take our seed and we plant it in the soil. And once that seed is in the soil, we have to make sure it has plenty of
water. What else?
And warmth from the sun. And once it has all of those things, do you remember what that seed did? Starts with an S. The seed sprouted. Remember our little green leaves. And our little green leaves grew bigger and bigger into a pumpkin plant. Does anybody remember what we called the pumpkin plant? Starts with a V. Vines. Very good.
And those vines fill up your whole yard if you grow them in your backyard, or the whole field.
Right? They sprout all along the ground. So then what grows on those pumpkin vines that the bees come to visit? Flowers. Very good. But I want to see if you guys, instead of using the word flower, can use the word blossom. Can you say blossom? Blossom. And do you remember what color our pumpkin blossom was? It's kind of a gold color, right? And what color is gold?
Yellowy
It's
orange.
kind of a yellow orange. All right, very good. Okay, so we took our seed, we planted it in the soil, made sure it had plenty of water, warmth from the sun. It sprouted. And then that sprout grew bigger into a pumpkin vine where a blossom grew. And once those bees pollinated that pumpkin blossom, a baby what color pumpkin grew? Green. And that baby green pumpkin turned into a teenage pumpkin. That was what color? Yellow. Very good. And finally that yellow pumpkin grew into a big orange pumpkin. Now, I have a question for you. When you cut open the top of your orange pumpkins and you reach inside, what do you find? Seeds. Can we take that seed, plant it in the soil, and get all of these things again? We can. And that's why it's called the life cycle of a pumpkin. It's a circle. It keeps on going. As long as we have pumpkins, we'll have seeds. And as long as we have seeds, we will have pumpkins. All right. Now, we have a really fun activity for you guys today. We're going to make the life cycle of a pumpkin spinner. Look at how cool this is. Isn't that cool? All right. So, to make our life cycle of a pumpkin spinner, you guys have 2 worksheets. The first worksheet has just a circle. Okay? Just a circle. And the second one has, well, a pumpkin. Okay? So, the first step that you guys have to do for this activity is you have to cut. So we need to make sure everybody has their scissors. So go ahead and get your scissors out. All right, now that everybody has their scissors, for this one, you are going to cut around only the outside of the circle, okay? Do not cut the triangle lines. You are only going to cut around the outside of the circle. So go ahead and cut. Good job. Now that you have your circles cut, it's time to cut out our
pumpkin. So this is really important. If you look, you're cutting on the outside of a pumpkin, and you need to cut this little piece. It looks like a little triangle or a piece of pizza was taken out, right? That's what you're going to cut out because you need to be able to see.
You're creating a window.
Yeah, it's a little wedge there.
So you're only going to cut around the outside of the pumpkin, though. Don't cut all of the lines of the pumpkin, and just the triangle out the front.
So make sure it looks like this.
So go ahead and cut. Nice job. Okay, so now we have our pieces. So here comes the part that I think is a lot of fun. And that's the coloring. So hopefully you all have your crayons out, and it's going to be time to color. Now, we talked about in the story that there are different varieties of pumpkins, and not all pumpkins have to be orange, even though the one in our story was. So you guys are free to color your pumpkin not orange if you want a different variety of pumpkin, and that's okay. All right, so you can do blue or kind of a pinkish color. I happen to like orange, and so does Miss Alicia. So our adult pumpkin is orange today. So we want you guys to go ahead and color the pumpkin, color your stem, and go ahead and put your name on your pumpkin also, so that after you do all of this hard work, you're going home with your pumpkin. So go ahead and color the outside shell. And once you've colored the outside shell, you are going to color the life cycle. But this needs to be accurate. This is important. So what color are our seeds?
Like a cream color.
Yeah, and you could leave it white if you want, but there is also maybe a tan color in there. And we take our seed and we plant it in the soil, which of course is brown. And we make sure that seed has plenty of water and warmth from the sun. And once it had those things, it sprouted. Do you remember what color the leaves were on that little baby sprout? Green. So let's go ahead and color those green. And then we did learn what our adult pumpkin plant was called. Do you guys remember what we called that? Vine.
Spreads out.
And of course, they're full of giant green leaves that provide shade for our growing pumpkins and provide food for our pumpkin plant as well. So then what grows on the pumpkin plant that the bees come to visit? The blossom.
Yeah, flower or a blossom.
And we learned that that was sort of a gold color, which could be a yellow orange, okay? And then our baby pumpkin was what color? Green. Our teenage pumpkin was
yellow.
And in our story, our adult pumpkin was
orange.
Okay? So those are the colors that we want you to use for your life cycle. So go ahead and start your coloring. Okay, so now that everything is cut out and everything is colored, how do we put these together, Miss Alicia?
Well, you should have, your teacher's going to come around and help you with one of these fasteners, okay?
It's called a brad.
Yeah. See how they do that? So we're going to poke it in the middle, and then on the back, you go like that.
Flatten
it out, see? So that way when you turn it, it spins.
That is cool.
It is pretty cool, right? And you can do it real fast, or you can do it real slow. Isn't that neat? That's super fun.
You guys did a great job with your spinners. Now, can you do us a favor? Will you teach at least one person when you get home the life cycle of a pumpkin using your super cool spinner?
And if you forget, just look at the picture and the words are there. That'll help you remember.
So let's do it. Let's spin together. Get your spinners ready. So we have a seed, soil, water, sun, sprout, vine, blossom or flower, baby green,
pumpkin,
teenager yellow, and adult orange. And then what's inside those orange pumpkins, friends? Seeds, soil, water, sun.
Going and going and going.
It's nonstop.
Because it's a life cycle.
Well, now that you guys are experts on the life cycle of the pumpkin, and it's time for us to go. We're so sorry to leave you, but we will see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.